Hello everyone, Brian Kibler here with another in my constructive video series for StarCityGames.com, and today we're going to be playing some Standard, and as you can see on your screen, we're going to be playing an updated version of the green-white aggro deck that I played at the Pro Tour. Now, I was reasonably happy with a lot of the elements of the deck that I played at the Pro Tour. I like the fact that it's a consistent two-color deck, gets to play with Elvish Mystic, which I think is one of the best cards in the format, uses it very effectively, ramping into some powerful 3 and 4 cost stuff. Has a lot of good use for extra mana with stuff like Boon Satyr and Morphs and Warden the First Tree, Fleeceman Lion. So it's a deck that can be be very aggressive, but also has the tools to utilize extra mana late in the game, which can give it a more powerful long game than a deck that just has a bunch of cheap stuff in general. I didn't do particularly well at the Pro Tour. My deck there was a little bit different. I had a couple copies of Heir of the Wilds, and I also played Surrak instead of Citadel Siege here. I want to try out Citadel Siege because Citadel Siege works very well with Den Protector, which I think is the Den Protector Raptor interaction is the whole shell that I built most of the decks that I tested for the Pro Tour around. And it's possible that it's not as powerful as some of the other things you can be doing in Standard, but I think it's not explosively powerful, at least compared to like playing Devotion, ramping into a Tarka, things like that. But it gives the deck a powerful long game resilience to removal, which I think is particularly strong given the popularity right now of sort of blue-black and Esper Dragon control decks. The Den Protector and Raptor interaction there is extremely powerful. The deck does have some cards which are pretty weak against control decks in the main deck. I'm actually only playing 3 copies of my Dromoka's Command in my main deck and playing the 4th in the sideboard, unlike at the Pro Tour, because Dromoka's Command is so bad in those particular matchups. If those decks are, incredibly popular, it's possible this is just not the correct deck to play. But I do have some strong stuff against them. I think Citadel Siege is one of the better cards against them. Citadel Siege is the big difference between the version that I played at the Pro Tour and this version here, in that it allows any of your small guys to become significant threats as the game progresses. Can make things like even Elvish Mystic into a meaningful threat. And one of the things that those decks often have to do to beat you when you're playing a deck like this is actually have the ability to stabilize the board with actual creatures. And if you're able to consistently pump your creatures with Citadel Siege, which they generally don't have any way to remove from the board once it hits, it makes it a lot more difficult for them to be able to use their creatures to outclass yours. Obviously, Death Mist Raptor with Death Touch is able to attack through basically anything, and if you're able to recur it with Den Protector, it gives you a pretty powerful long game. So the sideboard also has some tools that are very strong in the matchup. Collected Company against those decks, it gives you the ability to sort of play a game where you can leave mana up. Similarly, Master the Unseen. You can leave mana up to use things like Valorous Stance and God's Willing to protect your creatures and not be forced to commit to the board into something like a Crux of Fate. So it ends up being much stronger, give you a much stronger way to play around mass removal effects, and allow you to have the ability to recover from potential card disadvantage because you're able to prevent multiple threats with a single card. So anyway, that's really the core of what's going on here. I'm playing 1 copy of Johnny Steadfast in the main deck as well. It's another card that can help cause your smaller creatures to be pretty significant threats. And I do think that the Tarka's Command red decks, in particular on Magic Online, are very popular, and I wanted to have a card that was strong in those matchups, but also had like applications across a bunch of different matchups. And I think Johnny Steadfast may be a powerful tool in both of those. So anyway, this is what we're gonna play today. I'm gonna give it a shot, see how it does. Need to get prepared for the Standard Super League, which is gonna be starting soon. So yeah, anyway, we're gonna run into some queues and see how we do.